So back in the summer of 2015, right after my high school graduation, but right before I was going to go off to my first year of college, my soccer team, which I had been on for about 4 years at this point, was going to have one last practice, kind of a fitness session for the players who were going to keep playing in school, and then a goodbye for everybody else, giving it one last go. And so I go to this practice like any other practice. I'm excited. It's the last one. I'll get to see everyone. And I get to the field, and I'm sitting by the bench, kind of getting my stuff on with all of my other teammates. And at this point, our two coaches, Coach T, who's kind of on the stockier side of things, he's bald, has an intimidating face, and Coach K, who's more slim, really, really fit, always wears his black cap and has a white scruffy beard. They chime in at this point, and they're like, "Hey, Yahya, by the way, before you leave, just come see us. We want to talk to you before you go." And keep in mind, my two coaches, they are ex-military, it's very intense, very demanding, and I'm talking ex-special forces. They were in deep. And so I'm thinking to myself, this isn't the weirdest thing. They probably just want to do a one-on-one goodbye. That's kind of nice. And I don't give it too much thought. And so we go on to have our practice. It's exhausting, it's fun, it's emotional, and we wrap things up, and we're all kind of walking out together, as a team. Everyone's in their little groups towards the parking lot. And at this point, I remember, so I just holler out and I say, "Hey, Coach T, Coach K, you mentioned wanting to talk to me before leaving." They're like, yeah, thanks so much for reminding us. Why don't, let's walk over here. Let's talk over here. And at this point, I'm like, okay, now you made it weird. Because, in my mind, what do you have to say to me that, you can't say within earshot of the other teammates? But again, I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it. So we're walking over off to the side, kind of near the trail and by the forested area. The whole time we're making terrible small talk. It's miserable. I just want to get to the point. And we get there. And my coaches are standing in front of me. And Coach K just kicks things off, and he's like, "Hey, so we know that you're going to UVA in a couple of weeks, and we're just so excited for you and so happy." And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, me too. That's why I applied. It should be fun. And he continues, and he's like, "And when you get there, you're going to meet a lot of people from a bunch of different places." And I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, do they think I'm not going to make friends? Is that where this is going? I'm confused. And Coach T kind of just jumps in at this point, and he's like, "And these people who are coming from all over the world, they're going to have some pretty scary ideas and some beliefs." I see it, the puzzle pieces are starting to form in front of me. I'm getting there, but I'm not quite there yet. And Coach K hops back in, and he's like, "Yeah, these scary beliefs that they have, they might try to convince you maybe to believe in them and maybe even join some of their groups." I see it, right? No. Are they? Okay, let me get this straight. This is in my mind. They think ISIS is going to recruit me out of Charlottesville, Virginia. What? I remember looking down. I'm laughing out loud in my head. I'm like, this is so absurd. I can't believe I'm having this conversation. And, I'm everything's going through my mind, and Coach T just kind of softens the blow, wrapping things up, and he's like, we just want you to know that we're a resource here for you, we just wanted to give you a heads up so that when you get there, you'll just be aware, and if you see anything, you can always just come tell us. We'll help you take care of it. We'll figure out what to do, but we just want you to know that we are here for you. And I'm in disbelief, right? I'm confused. I'm trying to process what's happening right now. And it hits me, right? Like, I need to say something. I can't be quiet forever. And I think, okay, this is my time to educate, right? Like, this is my first time being profiled. I'm white passing. It's kind of exhilarating in a lot of ways. This is a new feeling for me. But I was like, this is it. This is my moment where I say something. I stand up and I finally just let them know you can't do that. So I pause for a second. And what I say is, oh my God, thank you so much. That is so thoughtful of you. I had not even thought about that possibility. And now I know, like, now when I go there, I'll definitely keep an eye out. And if I see anything, like, I know to come to you. This is great. Thank you. And, I'm sure they're patting themselves on the back. They just did their patriotic duty to protect this country. And we wrap things up and we're walking back towards the team. They're all hanging out by the parking lot. And it was on that walk back that I realized I'm gonna have to answer some questions. People are nosy. They're gonna ask me, what was that all about? And I knew, I felt this feeling of embarrassment because how do I even begin to explain what just happened? I'm the only Muslim kid on the team. And if someone asks me, what was that about? And I say, oh, they just were doing some classic, radicalization prevention. They thought I was gonna get scooped up by ISIS and just wanted to put a stop to it. I didn't have that in me to say. I was way too embarrassed. And I just chalked it up to, oh, they just wanted me to give me some tips on if I decide to continue playing in college, what that might be like and what to expect, and just wrote it off. So at this point, I haven't really had a chance to sit with it until I get in my car and I'm on the drive home trying to process what just happened, right? And it kind of hits me, I'm white passing, right? And unless I explicitly tell you that I am Muslim, or I am Arab, or I explicitly lay out parts of my identity, you have no reason to assume I'm anything but white. I can lay that out for you. And it was when I was standing there, right, the only Muslim kid on the team, being the only person at this intervention, that I realized, right, that in some ways, I was really grateful to be profiled. Not for the actual profiling, obviously, that kind of sucked, but more so because going into college, I kind of now had this moment of realization, it dawned on me that no matter how white I look, no matter how white passing I am, at the end of the day, that Muslim label, that Muslim identity is gonna be some sort of a lens that you'll see me through, one way or another.
You can't judge a book by looking at the cover.